Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're here today to talk about water births, and I'm with my colleague Pat. And just to let you know that both Pat and myself, we started on the Spires on the very first day it was opened.
We did.
And do you want to introduce yourself, Pat, a bit more?
I'm Pat, and I also work on the Spires, and I've been a midwife for nearly 16 years.
Wow. So hopefully we're going to get lots of questions from you, but I'm going to just do a little plug. Pat and myself and Maria Paz and Marie Barnard, we decided that we knew quite a lot about water births and wrote a book. So Marie and Maria Paz, they edited all our work, including each other's. So I'm going to show you the book, and it's really quite, it just talks about stories, women's stories that we and their experiences. So it's actually quite a good book. Anyway, we're very proud of it.
Okay.
Any questions, Pat?
There's a lot of people watching us.
Oh, great.
There's no questions that I can see at the moment.
Any acknowledgements or anything like that?
No.
Fine. So as you know, the Spires is now, we will be 12 years old in September. And it's a really successful birthing unit. We have 3 birthing rooms and 3 pools. We have a large pool in the Whiteham and 2 smaller pools in Burcott and the Knowles room. And we find that women giving birth or labouring, so you don't need to give birth in the pool itself, but labouring in the pool and birthing has been very beneficial for women, and they find the buoyancy of the water really helpful with the management of their labour sensations. Do you want to add anything, Pat?
Yeah, no, it's very, I mean, they're lovely births as well for us as well as the women, but as Catriona said, not everybody wants to give birth in the pool. Sometimes, especially with second babies, that can happen rather quickly, so it's just whether we can get you out in time, but obviously at the end of the day it's your decision whether you want to stay and to actually birth in the pool or to birth on dry land.
I think someone might have seen the scroll going down. Also, some people ask about what stage is best to go in the pool, and as long as you're in established labour and your contractions are regular and strong, then you can go in the pool. We have had, I mean, in my experience, I have had someone who was, doesn't happen very often, but they were contracting a lot, but they were still in what we consider early labour. Their cervix hadn't actually caught up with their contractions. And I found putting her in the pool, because that's where she wanted to be, putting her in the pool really helped her to relax. And then eventually what happened was she started to dilate as well, because all those lovely endorphins helped her, you know, get her into labour. So sometimes it can be used for that as well. And that's why we often say at home, water, even if you're in the shower or have a bath at home, it's a really good place to start.
Right, so actually, it's truthful. The first question we have is, where is the book sold? It is on Amazon, but it's also in some bookshops if you wanted to have a little look at it.
Yeah, and you might even get it in the library if you don't want to spend the money.
Absolutely. Hi, is there a wireless monitoring available when using the birthing pool? There is, but not on the Spires. We would use a handheld Doppler, but if for any reason you needed to be monitored constantly, then there are ones that can be used under the water on delivery suite.
And there's one pool and delivery suite. So people who use the Spires, they're women who come, the criteria for the Spires is for low risk women, unless you've spoken to not birth hospitals, what's it called? The clinic, Moda Birth Clinic, either with Heidi or Wendy or Emily Brace, I think. I think there's a few others.
We've got one here. I'm under consultant care. Would I be allowed a water birth? That would depend on why you're under consultant care, to be fair.
Yeah, there's lots of women who are under consultant care and they can still birth on the Spires. But what you would need to do, you'd need to speak to your consultant or your midwife and find out whether it would be appropriate to come and birth on the Spires. All right, but often what we do is we get the consultant to write, or one of their doctors under their team to write in the notes and just to say suitable for the Spires.
One, I can't find it now, but one was saying about somebody had got GBS and could they deliver on the Spires, and when did they need to come in? You can deliver on the Spires. If your waters go, we get you to come straight in, and you could still use the pool, and we can give you antibiotics up here on the Spires.
Yeah, so we'd have to, sorry Pat. So we'd have to put a Venflon in your hand, and so you can do it two ways. What you can do is we can put the Venflon in and give you the antibiotics whilst you're in the pool, and we either just would close off, take the line down where the antibiotics are connected, and we can either take that Venflon out because it's 4 hours later before you need your next lot, or we keep that Venflon in, and we ask you just to be aware of that hand, that you don't dip it under the water. So there's a little bit of compromise.
Another one there. Oh, is gas and air the only pain relief available during a water birth?
It is, because any of the other drugs that we can offer you are opioids, and you can't really have to be in the pool with that. So, but gas and air, unless you can think of anything else, gas and air is available. Yeah, aromatherapy, of course.
And paracetamol as well.
Yeah.
Use paracetamol. Right. From your experience, what percentage of women who plan to have a water birth end up having one? How busy, popular do you find it? I think usually, because I do the statistics for the Spires, and usually it's about 30 to 40% that actually deliver or have birth in the pool. It's a higher percentage that use it as pain relief.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's as high as 50%, just depends.
What was the second part of that question? There's something about...
was, how busy, popular do you find it?
I think every woman who wants to birth in
I'm worried about there might not be a pool available on the day.
All right. So I think every woman who wants to come up to the Spires, generally they want to use the pool, whether to labour in or to birth in. And we are popular, and the Spires is very boom and bust. So we're really busy, and then we have quiet periods. And but we generally manage to accommodate women. And what's really, really nice, say there's a woman who had just given birth, and we would ask her if she could vacate the room quite swiftly, and so then we could get you in. But we generally, it's been a long time that we haven't been able to accommodate women.
We really try not to say we can't have anybody. We get other midwives up if there aren't available midwives. And as Catriona said, we try and get the room emptied clean, the pool clean, and get you in.
It usually takes about an hour between women, because we have to sterilise the pool.
Right, any more? If you need to be induced, are you still able to have a water birth?
Do you want me to answer that, Pat?
Yeah, can do.
So women who are induced for post-dates, and there isn't any other risk factors, they can come to the Spires and birth in the water up here. For women who, for other reasons, it would depend on their history whether they could birth in the pool in the delivery suite. But you would have to have a conversation with your midwife or your consultant.
It would depend why you're being induced, probably.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Brings us nicely on to the next question. Is everybody able to birth in the pool? Would there be a reason why you wouldn't be able to?
If you were suitable for the Spires, then I think you should be able to birth in the pool. Can you think of anything, Pat?
No, I can't, because things that would stop you being in the pool probably would prevent you being on the Spires in the first place.
Yeah, I'd say so, because you have to meet our criteria, and we have quite an extensive criteria now, because we're alongside birthing unit, and so actually there's quite a few things that we can include. Yeah, and we've had things that have been outside the criteria, as long as you've gone to the Both of Mirth clinic, and still those women get the use of the pool.
So the next one. Is there 3 pools on the Spires? There
Yes,
is indeed.
there
There is. I'm really hoping to come to the Spires through a water birth. How regular should contractions be taking place before we would be invited into the Spires, and how dilated would you expect us to be with contractions coming every however many minutes, and would I need to get out of the pool? Doesn't say.
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so usually we say when your contractions are every 4 to 5 minutes. They're lasting a good minute, they're all really strong, taking your breath away, you can't sort of talk through them, and that they've all been like that for at least an hour. Sometimes at the beginning of labour, especially with the first baby, they can be a bit erratic and irregular, erratic in strength and length. So it's when they've got some sort of regularity to them. And often it's when you're sort of thinking, I can't do this anymore on my own, I need something extra. That's often a telltale sign. Dilation-wise, that's a little bit of a ballpark figure. Often people band around 4 centimetres is established labour, but it also depends on where your cervix is, if it's thin, if it's thick, and what the contractions are doing. So it's the whole picture. It's not just about the dilatation as to whether you're in established labour or not. And the last bit of that question I can't remember
was about if you're.
Oh, do you need to get out of the pool?
Sometimes say that sometimes if your contractions become lessened, so you get maybe 1 in 5, we would probably say why don't you get out, go for a wee, have a little walk around, change position, and once your your contractions start to build up again, you can get back in the pool. It's not like once you're out of the pool you have to stay out of the pool.
And we do tend to examine you around every 4 hours just to make sure that things are progressing. It's not set in stone that has to happen, but it is something, obviously we don't want to go on for hours and hours and there hasn't been any advancement in your dilatation. So we do sort of tend to get you out, but again, that's up to you, and if things are progressing and we can see that things are progressing, then we wouldn't get you out after 4 hours. So it's very on the day what happens and whether you do have to get out and why you get out, and isn't it a little bit?
Yeah.
It's not set in stone anymore. No. Would I need to get out of the pool for 3rd stage?
No, you wouldn't. Would you?
No.
So we give, if you have a managed 3rd stage, that means we give you an oxytocic, and if you're in the pool, we usually give it in the arm. But if you're on land or we call it on land, we normally give it in the leg. So yeah, plenty of women give birth to their placenta in the pool. Some people stand up and deliver it. It's easier if you do that. It's easier for us. Or if you have a physiological 3rd stage, yeah, you would stay in the pool with your baby until the placenta is delivered. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Hello, for a 2nd pregnancy, how far apart would you suggest my contractions before I go into the hospital? Do I call the Spires number in the blue back beforehand? Yes, please, do ring us before you come in. We need to know what's going on and who's likely to be coming in. 2nd babies are completely different. So once you sort of think things are beginning to happen, with the 2nd labour, often you forget completely straight after your 1st baby, but with subsequent ones you begin to think, oh yes, I remember these contractions. So once you think things are beginning to happen, then give us a call. We always chat to you anyway, and we've got literally a crib sheet that we follow, asking you lots of different questions every time you phone in, and then we can make a decision with you as to whether it's time to come in or not. I mean, it would depend on where you live, whether you've got childcare sorted. It just depends on a lot of things. So give us a call first, we can chat to you, and then we can decide between the 2 of us whether it's time to come in or not.
Yeah, and it's we are a 24-hour service, so even if you just want to ask a question, my labour's just starting, what shall I do? Please don't hesitate to call us. We are here. Anything else, Pat?
Not on that, I don't think, no. Is it correct that if you're induced, unless you have to have the hormone drip, you're able to use the birthing pool? I think we talked about that before, but yes, that's...
Yeah, mainly if it's post-dates. If there's any other factors, then we would need to look at that.
Oh, here's a controversial one. Which is the best pool? Or pros and cons for the different pools depending on availability? These, you can see one behind us. We've got two of this size, and then we've got a much bigger one. They all work equally as well as one another. Yeah. The object is to get your tummy and your bump under the water, which you can do with all of them. You can have your partner in with you, and again, they can get in all three of the pools. There's room for a partner as well.
Which one do you prefer, Pat?
I think I like the white one because it was our first one.
Yeah, as I said last time, this is my favourite room, so I like this room. But the white one is our original pool, and it's a much bigger pool. And yeah, I think it is. The room's a little bit more spacious. Yeah. Although this is a big room, but it's a lot more spacious, I think. Well, it feels more spacious, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But equally, I personally like the marbles as well.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
But it does depend on availability. Obviously, if there's nobody in, then you have the choice of all three pools. On the day, you could come and have a look and see which one you'd like to go in. But some days it is just the one that's left. It honestly just depends on that day. So, what else have we got?
Any comments, Pat? Any hellos?
Right, somebody's, the Oxygen Maternity Voice Partnership would advise to leave if a previous third-degree tear.
Say that again?
Would advise to leave the pool if we had a previous third-degree tear.
Again, yeah, we probably would advise you to do that, but you don't have to either. The reason why we'd ask you to possibly to leave the pool, because then we've got a better view of your perineum and to see what's happening. But actually, we've had plenty of women who've delivered in the pool with third-degree tears.
Again, as I said, when you get to the second stage, especially with second and subsequent babies, things can happen very, very quickly, and we perhaps don't get the chance to get you out in time for birth. So, yeah. Does your iron level need to be a certain level to be able to use the Spires?
Yes, it's 90. Is it 97 or 90 now?
90.
90.
It's 90. And this person had heard convicting information, but was hoping to use the Spires in a few weeks.
Oh, lovely.
Right, this one, I'll read it out, but I'm not quite sure. I think it's sort of an English translation thing. I have mucus in vaginal, 40 weeks, no any sign of labour, just slightly pain. How can I speed labour, please? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think what she's saying is probably, it sounds as if it's your plug, or your show is going. You can't. I would just let your labour happen. Yeah, it's always best just to let nature do its thing, and because there's not really anything that you can rush labour. And actually, I would say things like getting your endorphins up, watching a really funny film, something to make you laugh, a really nice walk, something gorgeous to eat, those sort of things. Rather than there's nothing proven to say that makes labour happen.
And I think everybody gets hung up on the date that we've given you, but in fact, anything from 37 weeks up to 42 is completely normal, and that's the gestation you have to be to deliver up here. So just because you're 40 weeks now doesn't mean that if you don't deliver today, the baby's going to be late. It's still within what we would class as term. So just enjoy these last few days or weeks, hours, whatever it is.
Of your pregnancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you actually do miss your tummy once it's gone.
Absolutely. And do some nice things.
Yeah, I was going to say something. And also your mucus plug can be there for a few days. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is a sign of labour. It can be, but it also means it's just that your plug is going away.
We've got one again. If you have a hormone drip, are you not allowed to birth at the Spires?
No, I'm really sorry, because if you're having a hormone drip, then you need to be continuously monitored. And up on the Spires, what we use the Doppler to listen in every 15 minutes in the first stage, and every 5 minutes or after a contraction in your second stage when you're pushing.
This one is, I heard there is one pull down on delivery suite. There is indeed. How is the delivery suite experience in pool on delivery suite different than the delivery experience in pool on Spires?
They're the best.
Absolutely. Sure.
I think realistically, we use the pools much more on the Spires, and that would be the difference, because the women on delivery suite generally are high risk, or they've got some form of complications. But midwives are trained to do water births, as they are up here as well as downstairs,
and also most of the midwives on the Spires are rotational. At what stage do we discuss with a midwife whether we qualify for the Spires water birth?
Do you have a third? I think there's a 34, 36 week appointment with your midwife, and you actually talk about your preference of birth, where you want to be. They probably should be talking to you all the way through your pregnancy about where you prefer to have your baby. I think we're trying to get back on main line here.
Yeah. Can you have a water birth if you're overweight?
Yes, you can. We have you can up to BMI of 40. So are we back on?
You're back on.
Right. Yeah. So BMI of 40, up to 40.
One of the things is some people get this pelvic girdle pain. Sort that out. Somebody else, a technical person here as well. It's about whether you can get out of the pool in an emergency. It happens very rarely, but sometimes we do have to say you have to get out of the pool straight away, and it will depend on whether you're able and mobile enough to do that. I think that's probably one of the...
Yeah, but being overweight is, we do have a, we have underweight and overweight, but actually, I wouldn't, unless there's a problem, normally women over 40 BMI, but again, you can talk to your consultant or the mode of birth midwife to discuss that.
My midwife said that the golden hour will begin once the placenta is birthed. Can you confirm this? Also, do women tend to have their golden hour in the pool or get out and have it on the bed in the same room? Could be either.
Yeah, could be either.
Again, it's up to you.
Yeah, I think probably the thing is the pool can get a bit cool, and babies they don't tend to keep their heat as well. So I would probably start to get you out of the pool beforehand, and to give you that time with your baby afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you have to see on the day, it's not absolute, and that's the thing. We're following women's choice and their preferences, and we try to accommodate that as best that we can, and also keeping you safe and your baby safe.
Can Dad catch the baby whether in the pool?
Sometimes, I don't know how you feel, Pat, but sometimes I do. My hands are there as well, and I often say, "Come on, lift your baby up," and and it's a lovely thing to do. And also ask the women, the person who's and also we encourage you to as well.
Right, now I've got to the bottom of all those.
Let's turn that off. So if you find that the live session is just having a glitch now, just give us 2 minutes. We should continue, but just bear in mind.
We're having a little bit of problem today. If the session is really interrupted, Heidi will reschedule us, I'm sure, won't you, Heidi?
Of course.
Just one thing to say, people wonder about what to wear in the pool. Again, it's entirely up to you. We're happy with whatever. If you want to wear nothing, got a baggy t-shirt, bikini top, we've got gowns. all-in-one swimsuits do give us a little bit of a challenge, but
and the baby.
Yeah, basically whatever you're comfortable in is fine by us.
Most women then end up being naked in the pool, and that's really comfortable. But if your partner wants to get in the pool and they are a male partner, I think we probably would require them to wear some trunks. That'd be great.
I'm afraid I have to read this one. The first comment that I read was about how wonderful Catriona had been as a midwife, but this one said, I had a baby on the Spires in June. In fact, Pat delivered Nancy. There we go. We weren't allowed to come up initially, but last minute circumstances mean we could come up. I was so pleased, as it was the best birth experience I've had out of 3 babies I've had. So positive, quiet and calm. I was so grateful. So
that's really lovely. But did you actually read mine out, Pat?
I didn't, because it was right at the beginning and I missed it. But it was about Catriona and how well she did.
Oh, thank you.
This live keeps breaking up. Will it be here to watch later?
It will be.
It will be, apparently.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Is there a chance the Spires will be closed? I'm due in 10 days and I've heard you're sometimes shut. That's a thing of the past. I don't remember the last time we were closed.
No.
Not for way over a year, I would say.
Oh, easily so. I'd say more like 2.
Yeah.
This is, and usually it was in the summer when we have lots of babies in the summer, and so that would be the reasons why. And the only reason that we would, on occasion, would be closed would be because it'd be so busy elsewhere in the hospital that we would need to follow where the women are going. But as Pat said, we haven't been closed for a long, long time.
At the end of the day, we do whatever is needed for the safety of all women and all babies in the hospital. So it's not about the Spires and the midwives, it's about the women and their babies. So we just have to do whatever's safest for them. There's no more on here. There's a lot of people watching us.
Oh, call out then, Pat. Say who's
watching you?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look then. Renna Lulloff and Alison East and 12 others are watching you. Rebecca Marie. My friend recommended wearing a sports bra for a water birth, but it seems to me that you can do skin to skin properly right away. That's true, if the bra would be in the way. Do you have any clothing, bra, bathing suit recommendations that are good for both water birth and skin to skin?
Naked skin?
Yeah, just have to be naked.
I mean, some people wear their bras and they just take them off once the baby's born.
Absolutely.
You know, don't over worry about that. And generally, we have no problems taking clothes off. We're very good at taking bras off, aren't we?
We are, yeah. We definitely
incredibly quick.
Does labouring in water tend to stall labour or get a stall laboured moving, progressing forward?
They used to say that. They used to say, oh, putting a woman in labour in the pool would stall the labour, but there's actually no evidence to show that. Really, it's being comfortable and getting those endorphins is the thing that gets your labour in good progress. So if you're coping well in the pool, then you're going to help your progress of your labour. Sometimes if you are in the pool really, really early and you weren't really in established labour, sometimes then it might go quiet, but then we just get you out, get you walking around, getting things moving again, and then you can go back in later.
Absolutely. Is it worth doing perineal massage for a second-time mum?
Yeah.
I heard only beneficial for first-time mum.
No, anything's beneficial. I would definitely do it. I think it'd be beneficial for any woman who's pregnant. There has been some evidence to say it helps.
Sorry, Lucy Langton said, I think my question got lost in the technical issues. Sorry about that. What is the conversion rate for first-time birth to delivery suite as intervention is needed from Spires water birth? I think you mean perhaps to be transferred downstairs.
So we actually, Pat, you should answer this because Pat does this. We call them Pat stats. So she collects all the information for us. But we are really within the national guidelines of.
It literally changes from month to month. Sometimes we're sort of as high as top 30s. Often we're as low as early 20s. And the reason for changing or transferring can be so varied. Sometimes it's nothing to do with what you want, what you've done. It's just happened, and therefore, again, the safest place for you and your baby is to be transferred. Very few women who want to deliver on the Spires move downstairs for pain relief. Usually what we have up here is enough.
And the percentage is between 1 and 2%.
Yeah,
so that's really fantastic, and especially when first time mothers as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
we do really well for first time mothers.
Yeah, fantastic, really strong.
High percentage.
But if you do need an epidural, obviously, then we'll transfer you down.
But a lot of the reasons for transfer are out of anybody's control, to be fair.
Yeah, sometimes it's a delay in first stage,
Yeah.
sometimes a delay in second stage, and we all have to work within the our guidelines and protocols to keep you and your baby safe. Sometimes it's third stage if you have a placenta that hasn't delivered. So you can,
How many weeks should you do the perineal massage from? 34?
I think you can do it from any time, but yeah, 34 weeks sounds good to me.
Yeah. So the rest is just people watching us. Lizzie Robertson, Alice Cummings, Tom Inch, Jemima Roberts, Zoe Bentham. I think she might be on time.
She's written something to say, yes, I am.
Yeah, no, this is a comment. Carla Shipley, I had a wonderful water birth with you during the new year 2018. Such a positive, calm experience. I am now due with my second next Sunday and look forward to coming to you again.
Lovely.
Only problem is my first experience is on such a pedestal it will be hard to live up to. I'm so grateful that I'm not scared or worried. Thank you. Good.
Oh, brilliant.
That's lovely.
Really good. And it'd be wonderful because this would be a new baby, new experience.
Yeah.
Because every experience, often people say, oh, this is what happened last time, or this is what happened last time, and they really hold on to what happened last time. But every experience is really different. And let the experience of your birth this time be your experience, and try and stay within what's happening.
Absolutely.
In this time.
Hannah Griffin is watching you.
When you say you mean us?
Us. Well, it just says watching you. You. I think that's it. Charlotte Baker is watching us. I don't want any more questions at the moment.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think let's give it a few more minutes for questions, or we will end the live session. Is there anything you want to add to?
We've exhausted quite a lot of
the session
things,
today,
haven't we?
Yeah.
One thing we haven't said about is partners. Actually, I haven't had a partner get in the pool for a long, long time. But sometimes partners get in the pool if they want to. Again, that's entirely, as a couple, that's your decision whether you want to or not. But having said that women can wear anything, we do ask men to have some trunks on, please.
Yeah, I think I did mention that. I was just going to say that women do find being in the water really beneficial. So if you do come up here, do try it. And just the sheer buoyancy of the water itself it helps you move around, and you just have that. Yeah, I think it is the buoyancy, isn't it? Yeah. And it doesn't take the pain away, because nothing but really an epidural takes the pain away. But it does really help women cope, and they love it, don't they? Women get in, they go, oh, they really feel, it helps
yeah, even women that have decided they don't want to use the pool often do, and like Catriona said, find it really beneficial, really helpful.
Yeah.
We can't have the water too hot. I like a really hot bath, but we can't have it too hot because it does make the baby heart rate raise a little bit. So we have it sort of for the comfort of mum, within reason.
Yes, because baby's heart temperature is about a degree hotter than yours, so you need to keep that water no higher than 7.
How hot is the water? I read that afterwards.
Brilliant.
Do we clean the pool during usage or just at the end? At the moment, often women will have their bowels open during second stage. It's just something that happens where the baby's pushing down over the back passage. We are asked for women to get out of the pool and shower, and we empty the pool and swill it out at the moment just because of COVID. I don't know what Catriona does.
I think that's,
Yeah.
So, and also, just so you know that because normally we normally are dressed like Pat's dressed today in your labour, but now we have to wear a gown and also a mask and sometimes a visor or goggles. And we do also ask you to stand up when we're listening to you. Sometimes women can't, which is okay. We're trying to accommodate that as much as we can. But we will be wearing these great big long gloves. They're called gauntlet gloves, and so our hands can go into the water. But sometimes we will ask you to stand up and we can listen to your tummy.
Or just bring your tummy out of the water.
Yeah.
It says here, sorry, go on.
No, that's what it says.
It says, can having partners in the pool make it less sterile, or do you have chemicals in the pool to ensure sterile? Birth isn't sterile.
No.
So,
don't worry
and
about
obviously, you're living with your partner, so that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, we just make sure the pool is sterile between uses.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm expecting my first child in October and hoping to have a water birth. When is the best time to speak to my midwife? I think we've done that one, haven't we?
Yeah, but just ask your midwife at any appointment that you have with her. You can ask her about the use of water and where you'd like to be.
Will my partner be allowed into the Spires with me when we arrive, or will I need to be in established labour?
It's the second one. So what happens is you come to us and your partner can drop you off, and we would assess you in our assessment room, and that from there you can give them a call and say, come on in when you're in established labour.
We just get them to drop you off at the door and then go off and park the car. By the time they've done that, then often
you're either going to go home, we've got a plan, at least you can let them know whether you're going home, staying with us, or going to MAU for some reason. But if not, we call them in.
It may be worth saying now that whether you have a pool delivery or not, after delivery, we keep the partners and you can have some time with your baby, both of you, and anything that needs doing, and then we'll give you some tea and toast. And then after a period of time, we will ask the partners to leave. And then what happens on the day that mum goes home with the baby, we would take mum and baby down to the partner at the door and hand them back over.
We are doing hourly, we have an hour slot for visits, and that's 12:30 to 1:30. And I know it sounds really strict, but it's going throughout the whole of the hospital. So if you want to have the whole hour, you need to be here at the partners need to be here at 12:30. And if you come at 1:25, you will only have 5 minutes. And I'm really sorry about that.
Is there any problem with being in the pool if having antibiotics or group B strep? I think we talked about that and just about whether to keep the ventolin in or out.
But it's absolutely fine. You can be in the pool.
Do you know any difference between your MLU and Bembry Horton MLU?
The criteria is different between the two birthing units. So on the Spires we have a wider criteria, so because we're on top of the consultant-led unit, but in the Horton it's their criteria is straightforward, healthy women, healthy babies. That's the same in Wallingford and also the same in Wantage and Chipping Norton, sorry.
Do women tear more in water because the midwife has less control of the birth, or are the steps the same for both land and water?
Really, there isn't any stats to say either way at the moment. I don't think we have any more tears on the Spires than delivery suite. We certainly don't have any more third-degree tears up here than down in delivery suite either. I'm looking at Heidi for confirmation.
This one again, what additional pain relief can you have in the pool? We talked about that.
That's in there, and aromatherapy.
Do you have a shower before getting in the pool? Is there a risk of spreading bacteria to the newborn baby if you don't shower not clean enough?
You can have a shower before if you want to, but that'd be for your own personal preference. But no, you don't need to shower before you get into the pool. And also, what's really important, actually your bodily bacteria is really good for your baby. And that's why babies are born by the dirtiest part of your body, because they're picking up the flora from around the anus and your vagina.
I am 42 and due my first baby in October. I'm on pathway D, but all scans and checks have been normal to date. Ooh, not normal. Would the option of using the pool be open to me? I did hear something earlier but didn't catch it, but over 40 I won't be able to.
Yes, I'd say there'd be no problems. I mean, you could possibly use the pool and delivery suite, but also that you could talk to your midwife and you could talk to maybe one of the consultant midwives in the birth of Midwife clinic. As long as everything is well, I don't see there's a problem, but you just need to have that conversation with your midwife.
Are the visits just partners, or can my daughter also come? Sorry, it's just partners.
It's just one person. I mean, it can be your daughter instead of your partner, as long as they're not two.
I'm going to say if they're two, it's probably not
No,
very
not a good idea.
good.
Sorry, I don't know why I find that this little toddler coming up pressing the
See my mummy.
yeah. Oh, that'd be really cute, wouldn't it? Have all these children coming in. Oh, that'd be really sweet.
Really cute.
I've just got this image now.
Was it BMI over 40? Yeah, that's
Up to 40.
I think it's 18 to 40, isn't it?
Yeah, or 16, I think now to 40.
16.
But again, talk to your midwife. None of these are absolutes. You can always talk to someone and see if we can accommodate your needs.
Oh, every time I think we've got finished all the questions, another one pops in.
That's
It's
good.
just somebody care holders is watching you. Yes.
Oh my God, I'm never going to look that one down.
And then there's no more questions at this moment.
Do you have any nice stories to say, Pat?
I just think babies that come out, often mums worry because babies come out in the pool and I think they're a little bit shell-shocked and they're not quite sure whether they're in or out. It's so such a serene way of being delivered that they don't scream as you see on the telly that babies come out and scream. They don't tend to always do that. Some do, but they don't always tend to do that in the pool, and they just sort of look around as much as they, yeah, what's happened there then? And they, they're not screaming. And to see them under the water, we are very privileged.
Oh, it's lovely.
We can see them under the water, and sometimes they're just blinking their eyes, looking around. It is amazing. It
And
really is.
yeah, one of the really it's lovely because when your waters go, they often go sort of after because we don't tend to break waters up here unless there's a little bit of slow progress. But when you're in the pool and the waters go, usually sort of in the beginning of second stage. But some babies are born in their waters, and that is something else to see, isn't it? It's just amazing, and you see the waters coming through first, and then the baby behind, and then we just lift the waters over the baby, and then it comes up. And so how amazing! You can imagine being born that way, that soft surrounding, and then just in the water. It's really beautiful. It's amazing to see.
It is. So I said we are very privileged.
We are.
Sorry, I think I missed that you've spoken about our partners allowed in with you.
Yes.
They wait and then we call them.
If you're an established labour, they can come in. We want your partners there.
If you've had a straightforward labour and the babies have the first feed, can you leave with your partner instead of being transferred to the postnatal room? Who would do the newborn checks in that instance?
So the thing is, we do move you from the birthing room quite swiftly because other women are wanting that room, and so we do put you into a postnatal room. And I just think I can't say that we could discharge you that quickly because we have a lot of paperwork. So we have to put all your paperwork through for the delivery, and then we have to put paperwork through for your discharge, and also do all your cares and making sure that the baby is well before you go home. So it does take us a few hours, and so unfortunately we can't promise that partners can stay that long. Regarding if you go home before you can do the NIP, which is what you're talking about, the newborn initial physical examination, then we arrange for the community midwife to come and do it. Or if you live near the Horton, you can go into the Horton and have it done there as well.
But there are certain instances where there isn't that available in the community. It may be that you'd have to wait for the 6 hours because the baby has to be at least 6 hours old. It may be that you have to wait to have that done before.
Yes, I see what you mean. So if there is no availability in the community the next day, if there isn't a midwife who can do the NIP,
because not everybody is trained to do it.
so you might have to wait. But we try to accommodate and we try to get you home as soon as you want to. But also it depends on who's in. We may have other labourers and also lots of postnatals to see. So you know, we will try our best to accommodate you.
And there's one. My due date is tomorrow.
Yay!
I can't come to the Spires because of previous C-section, but hoping for a water birth downstairs.
Lovely.
My only question is this is my third baby, although my last baby was 12 years ago. My last birth was just over 4 hours from first contraction to giving birth. From experience, is third ones quicker, or does it vary from person to person?
Right. What do you reckon, Pat? So I think first ones, third ones, and fifth ones are quite similar.
Yes, yeah. I mean, everybody is completely different.
Yes, they
You
are.
still hear of first babies being delivered in 2 hours flat, which isn't probably the normal.
Yeah, the norm, yeah.
Third babies tend to either be very quick or very slow. There's no way of quite telling what's going to happen with a third baby.
I think more with third baby, sometimes it takes women to get into established labour can take its time, and then once they're in labour, it's quick. Yeah, it's that's how I noted. But and this is just anecdotal. There's no real evidence.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, there's not a set chart we can follow. No, I'm choosing.
Yeah, 9 to 5, 9 to 5.
Yeah,
that's really how we.
And it depends. If you don't, whether you had both sections, whether it was just one section. If you've never laboured before, although you say it was a quick one, so I'm assuming you've had one vaginal delivery. So if you've had one vaginal delivery, you're more likely to progress reasonably quickly than if you've never had a vaginal delivery, because your cervix is already opened to 10 centimetres, as opposed to perhaps when finding out 2 centimetres you've got a breach on board and you have a cesarean. So it is slightly different. But who knows? And good luck.
Yes,
it will be fun.
Well, it's a really good one. Who's talking?
I'm lucky enough to have had both our children in the pool, most recently 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
The instant relief when getting into the water was incredible, and I would forever recommend a water birth to anyone who's thinking about it. Thank you to the midwives and carers for all your hard work, especially during these strange COVID times. Yes, here.
yeah, and that is true. That's what I'd say. Vast majority of women who I don't know anyone who hasn't liked the pool. No one's ever got in and gone, no, I don't like that. No, I haven't. I've experienced that in my time of looking after women using the pool. It is such a relief for women.
Is Christine still a midwife at the JR? She was my midwife of my first delivery suite, and does she rotate to the Spires?
Christine.
Is it Christina?
Christina, yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, she has retired.
This isn't water birth specific, but I have a low anterior placenta. How many weeks can the placenta move up until before a C-section will be decided? She doesn't say how many weeks she is now.
Well, you'll be having regular scans, and so you'd have your 20-week scan, and then you'd have your 36-week scan. And if you had a low-lying placenta, they may want to scan you beforehand. And I think there's no actual time when a placenta then moves up. I think it's when your placenta moves away, and so they would make that decision with you to see what's the best way to deliver your baby. So, again, safest thing for you and your baby. Anything else, Patsy? Lots of people watching. Barry Hathaway, Debs Mack, Kay Edwards, Katie Steers. Right, I think we're going to call it a day. But if you have any questions, you can always ask your midwife or midwives, and hopefully we'll see you here at some point. And look after yourselves and enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you for watching. Bye. Bye.